Il est 17 heures, vous êtes d'une ponctualité absolument remarquable, ça ne m'étonne pas de vous. Voici le deuxième temps fort de cet après-midi d'une grande richesse. Et c'est le moment des interventions, des conversations avec des personnalités un peu hors normes, mais qui ont évidemment tout leur sens, toute leur présence. Au même titre que, vous savez, nous avons reçu plus de 100 intervenants au cours de ces 5 ans, donc des personnalités de sphères très diverses, pour enrichir les débats. Alors, je vais maintenant, I'm sorry, I'm going now to try to speak English, because we are welcoming Jordan Casey. Jordan comes from, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jordan is a very gifted person. He's one of the youngest, if not the youngest, entrepreneurs, I don't know, of Europe. He is 15 years old. He comes from Ireland with his father and his young brother. I don't know where they are, but I know they are here. I know that they are going to Euro Disney tomorrow. And which is absolutely extraordinary, it is that Jordan is a self-taught programmer through reading books and videos on coding. He began programming at the age of 9. Can you imagine that? And at the age of 12, that means in 2012, he founded his first companies, Casey Games and Teachware. And I know that he's launching in the coming 6 months a third one. Can you imagine that also? The name of it is Event Z. So, dear Jordan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We are very glad to welcome you. First of all, how are going on? Your two businesses are going on?
They're going really good, thanks. Well, Casey Games is a company for video games on iPhone, so that's been going really well. And then another app that I have is called Teachware, and that's an app for teachers to manage all of their students' sort of information on the internet. So that's been going really well as well. I've won a few awards with it. And then with Evency...
Yes, you won a few awards.
Yeah. Then with Evency, which is similar to Teachware, except it's for event organizers. So for like conferences, events like this, like concerts with singers, it's for managing all the information that goes with that. So I've been working on that for about a year, and I hope to publish it in the next 6 months, yeah.
Very good. When and why have you chosen to become an entrepreneur? And what is, in fact, your personal goal? What do you want to achieve personally as an entrepreneur? What are your main engines?
Well, it's sort of, I think it came naturally to me, sort of wanting to be an entrepreneur. Like, I remember when I was really young, I used to sort of make up shops and like try to sell my old toys or like lemonade, things like that. So
Rockefeller began like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So like that's how I sort of started, and then when I was 9, I got into the computers and things like that. So naturally, I just wanted to make a business out of that. But my personal goals really with becoming an entrepreneur was to sort of help people. Like with apps like Teachware, it sort of finds a problem and tries to help it, like making teaching easier. Then with Evency, it's making event organizing easier. And I sort of think my main goal and what really motivates me is trying to help people with solving problems.
Is it generosity and money, or generosity alone?
I think it's sort of, well, like money's a good bonus as well, but like I think...
Thank you for saying that.
I think with my sort of personal thought, it was sort of like trying to solve a problem and like using, like be generosity, like sort of, yeah.
That's great. Why, according to you, does your generation of age, 16, 24, 18, 24, wants to become entrepreneur? Because according to different studies, 1/3 or 1/2, it depends on the studies, those young guys declare, I want to become an entrepreneur. Why is it so such a wish for your generation, to your point of view?
Well, I think my generation, like my young generation, sort of have this fearless attitude. Like if they want to do something, nothing sort of gets in their way. Like they don't think about what happens if you fail or things like that. They sort of turn them into advantages. So I think that's a really important one. but also the sort of coming of the internet and my generation being born into the internet and having those tools available so easily, like I think is a huge factor. Like if I wanted to publish a game like 20 years ago, I would have had to go through a publisher and then I had to like get it in stores. But now with in the internet and tools, I can just click a button and have it on available across the world. So I think the internet plays a major factor because it provides the tools, but also sort of attitude of young people like fearless and like turning disadvantages into advantages is big.
Now, as you are a successful guy, as you told us, you are now a chairman and a manager.
Yeah.
As a manager, you are appointing people. And those people sometimes are older than you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have better or deeper skills or other skills than yours. So what kind of management do you practice? How could you describe yourself as a manager?
So in the last few years, I've sort of hired a few people.
How many?
Maybe 3 or 4. So it's just kind of 3 or 4, small.
4.
So like, but my first employee was a guy with the same age as me. So it wasn't that big an age difference, but we both had to sort of quit because of our exams. So that was a disadvantage. But like in the past, I have sort of employed older people, and with that, they sort of have this intimidating factor because how younger I am than them. But I just try to sort of prove to them like I know what I'm doing. Like I may be a kid. Like when I'm being a kid, I'm like playing football and things like that. But when I'm in business, I'm as professional as a business person I can be. So that's the sort of attitude I try to like take in. I try to show them that I'm where I am for a reason. But yeah, also the kind of manager I am, like again, when I talk about generosity over finances, that's what I sort of believe in. I think like I try to make my employees as equal as they can. They all have a voice and they all get their same recognition. So that's the kind of manager I am.
How do you, for example, can you explain us what it is? Everyone has an equal voice, but at the end you have to decide.
Yeah, like at the end I sort of would be the manager, but other than that, like I try to take in everyone's opinions on something. So like when I'm making a game, they all get to express their opinion. Everyone has a voice in it. But yeah, in the end, I would be the one who sort of makes a decision. But I take in everyone's opinions equally. Like I consider it all.
Now, I'd like to listen to your point of view on what we said. We are here at a very important conference, as you know, on social performance and sustainable capitalism. What those words do those words mean for you?
Well, the sort of capitalism sort of goes on the running of a company and like the financial sort of balance between finances and employees. And sort of my opinion on that would be, like I mentioned before, the whole generosity thing is social performance will play a much, much bigger role in the coming years from what I understand and like what I see about my generation.
Can you give us ideas?
Like, for example, like a company that I really like is Google, and the sort of way they take in their employees and like the facilities they provide them, and like they listen to everyone's opinions on something. Like they sort of divide everything into teams, and everyone has a voice. Like I said, that's the kind of manager I want to be. So yeah, I believe that like in my opinion, social performance is as equal to like finances and figures and things like that. And I think over the coming years, it will play a bigger role across every corporation.
Is it the future of capitalism for you?
Yeah, in my opinion, it is. Like going from sort of people my age, we have this sort of collaborative attitude, and we believe in open source and sharing. Like I think that the future runners of the world, like people like my age, will definitely believe that focus.
Our generation is completely vertical and top-down in terms of decision-making and thinking, and yours seems to be, of course, more horizontal, collaborative.
Yeah.
How would you define those two, the cohabitation between those two systems? Where are the weaknesses and the strengths?
In both generations, I think there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages. From mine, again, I think my people in my generation take on that sort of collaborative attitude, and we express ideas with each other. Like I see corporations like run by like young people like me, like people that I've collaborated with. We share ideas, and we're okay to like talk about like what we're working on. But what I see with sort of older companies is that they don't really talk about like their rivalries and things like that. So I think like that's a really good advantage. Another advantage personally with me is well, disadvantage for me, sorry, was it's hard to be taken seriously sometimes by bigger corporations. Like I don't know if they're like afraid of change really. So that's something like when I try to get investment or mentorship, like they sort of want to stick with the status quo and they're not afraid to sort of make a change or like adjust. And I think my generation would sort of be okay with that. They're okay with making changes. Again, they have that fearless attitude. They don't think about the disadvantages and they try to turn them into advantages. So that's what I think the advantages are.
Thank you very much, Jordan. We can applaud him.
Thank you.
Waren we zo? We do dan.